Welcome everyone, and it's finally time for the F1 2018 career mode to get underway. You would have seen the team announcement video a couple of days ago. If you are on the channel, and obviously if you are new, then enjoy the content that's coming up. You know, watch the video and then see what's coming up here. But yeah, this is the start of our career mode. The game officially launched, obviously in the UK and everywhere globally, the 24th. So this is me getting all my character set up and diving in. For those of you that have seen the team announcement video, you know exactly who I'm driving for. Those of you that haven't, put a little bit of a nice little backstory, almost if you will, into this F1 2018 universe. And we're going to be driving for Williams. So, first race weekend of the season here in Australia. So we're getting ourselves all settled into the paddock here, as we get this lovely little cutscene that everyone's going to have seen about 10,000 times at this point. But there's, of course, Emma returning for the third time. And this is, of course, Claire, the media, who's going to be doing those time pressures interviews, one of the new features of the game this season. So, sat down, had a chat with them, bit of coffee, just before, obviously, you know, getting into the ins and outs of things. Then we went out with Carl, another one of the new guys. He is essentially the, you know, the guy who's going to be giving you feedback about, you know, the upgrades. That's not all going to be from Jeff, who's, of course, the race engineer. So, we're getting ourselves all sort of settled in here in the Williams motorhome. And this is essentially going to be the new environment that we sit in here between sessions, as it were, to work on the car, do like your invitational events, which now aren't just forced upon you. You have the choice of doing them or not, which is lovely. But in any case, we start with 1,500 resource points. You actually start off with some resource points in this game, which I quite like, and I think the amount varies between team to team. And of course, the R&D tree is team specific as well. So we are Williams, and the only thing we really have going for us is our power unit. So I don't really want to blow the 1,500 straight away. I sort of want to see how the car's going to behave. But first and foremost, play to our strengths, get the power unit upgrade, and we're going to do the durability as well, because, you know, components are a big thing. Even bigger thing in this year's game as opposed to last year.
Around the globe, you join us just as today's practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is about to start.
So there we go, Crofty just letting us know what's going on. We're jumping into practice here. This is my very first lap in the game, very first lap in the Williams. So as I said, the durability is important because only 3 major parts and then only 2 MGU parts. So we really have to be careful with our wear over the course of the season. But let's go through our first lap on the car, on the game, whatever you want to call it here, using ERS. Interesting. A lot more management. I think I eventually got the hang of it. Spoilers for ahead, almost. A little bit. I think I was too conservative with it in the race sometimes. But it's an excellent tool. Going to be very useful. Once you learn to get the hang of it eventually, it's going to be just monumental in the way that you hone your racecraft. You know, you can easily make or lose probably 10 or 15 seconds over the course of a race just because of ERS. But all in all, the car in itself, obviously very punchy, very quick. You know, the Mercedes power helps it just charge along the straights. Turn 9 appears to be very revamped in this year's game because I feel like I'm braking where I normally brake, and I'm braking like 50 metres too early. So, yeah, I don't know. I just found that really weird. I struggled to get used to it, even throughout the whole Grand Prix. But then the best corner on the circuit, the left-right chicane, and the Williams, yeah. The aero is joint worst, or like ever so slightly worst, and the chassis is by far worst. In the old R&D tree. So the Williams is going to require quite a bit of work, unfortunately. But yeah, playing to its strengths. Obviously, we need to build on those upgrades. Anything I do this weekend will come in place for China because the minor upgrades still take 2 weeks. I think the majors now take 6 weeks. I'm not 100% sure on the R&D tree because obviously you know, there's now the fog of war, so you can't really look too far ahead. But across the line, purple in our first practice program. Lovely stuff. I'm not going to be showing you too much of practice because everyone knows the drill by now. Just wanted to show you sort of the first lap. And then this is the new one for this year, the ERS management. So what I was trying to do on this lap, I know some people have said this is quite a challenge. Thankfully, being a Mercedes-powered car, I think I was able to get away with using no ERS deployment because of the sheer grunt of the Mercedes engine. So on the straights, I was able to run it in none, and everything would work out fine. I'd lose time compared to the target, and then I'd bump it up to high for some corners. But you can see there, by bumping it up to high, look, I was most of the way through purple, and on this back straight where I wanted to try and gain a bit of time, I lost some because of a poor exit and driving on the grass. This Williams very twitchy. Yeah, so I lost a bit, so I had to bump it down to none again in the final sector. But on none, it just rises so quickly. You just need to make sure that you're being as committed as possible through the corners. But yeah, ERS management going to be a weird one to try and get used to over the course of this year's game, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, you always need to try and get the maximum amount of resource points as possible to upgrade the car as quickly as you can. So there's obviously a recap. The only practice program I didn't do was the fuel management, because that's never really a fun one. At the time, we were looking okay. Let's roll in to an interview.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. It's been a lot of hard work, but here you are making your debut in Formula One. You must be thrilled.
So I'm going to be answering these as honestly as possible. I don't really want to shoehorn myself as to a showman or a sportsman, so I was just outlining there like this isn't the end of my journey, this is just the beginning in F1.
How are you finding things at the team? Are you settling in? What are you expecting out of this season? Are you just aiming to find your feet in Formula One, or do you see something more? Appreciate your time.
So yeah, as a rookie, I feel like I just answered those as honestly as possible without trying to offend anyone, really.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly.
So here we go, qualifying. A lot more glare from the sun in this session, but ultra softs on for the second time. Hot lap ERS, rich mix flowing. Let's get the best lap possible out of this Australian Grand Prix. You see, getting out of shape there through turn one. That's just because I rode the curb. The curbs are deadly in this year's game. Not too many in Australia, but later on in the season they're going to be brutal. But we're going to come across the first sector. 29.7, probably my best first sector I'd had throughout all of the practice sessions. Ocon does a 26 flat, and Bottas sets the pace on a 23.3. So obviously we're not going to be aiming for the 23.3. We're going to just try and get as close to it as possible. But here we go. We're about 8 tenths down on Bottas' time, which isn't too awful actually, all things considered. Conserved run through the high-speed chicane, but we'll see how the lap all sort of comes together, braking nice and late here, and it's a bit too late, running it out too wide. But out of the final corner now, with our DRS wide open, charging towards the line. It's going to be a 24.8 as Stroll comes out of the pits, actually. And all things considered, I was actually quite happy with that lap. I am running short qualifying, so I figured, you know, I'm done with it there. I don't really want to run all 3 of the sessions because I have limited time during the week to record these videos, and I wanted to get as much done as possible. But 16th place in our first session. Lance is down in 19th. I was very happy with that result. Let's see what we can do now going into the Grand Prix. But before we do that, we're just going to come back in here. So due to obviously the resource points I gathered through practice and quali, I have over 1,000 points, so I can now make 2 upgrades. Now, we don't have any kind of simultaneous development as of yet, so I'm going to have to rely on doing one. So obviously I figured do 1 aero upgrade, 1 chassis upgrade. The aero, I felt the car was very loose on the rear, so I've put more rear downforce. Figured that would make the most sense. The chassis was a different one. It was weight distribution, about obviously when the car's moving around at high speed, or just general weight reduction. Now the Williams is awful in its chassis department, so in the end, after some collaboration, just the research, let's get into the race.
New drivers, new cars, and a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that hosts the first round of a 21 race championship, taking us from here in Melbourne, Australia, across the globe before we eventually reach the season finale at Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. Here's the track then, 16 corners, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. They make up the 3.3 miles around Albert Park Lake, with turn 1 and 3 providing the best opportunities to pass. We have plenty of changes to the sport this year, with the addition of new safety features, the return of France and Germany in an expanded 21 race calendar, and more tyre compounds than ever before. And of course, we have some big car manufacturers back in the sport too, with Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin returning as title sponsors for Sauber and Red Bull respectively. Joining me to take you through all the action of the 2018 Formula One season is Anthony Davidson. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Crofty. Always happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting underway. Last year was Mercedes' 4th Constructors' title in a row, although for the first half of the season, it was absolutely neck and neck with the Ferraris. Hopefully this year we can see the chasing pack take that final step, as I'd love to see a championship contest all the way up to the final race in Abu Dhabi. Another story to keep an eye on is the relative performance of McLaren and Toro Rosso, who have exchanged power unit suppliers this year. And given the additional restrictions on engine components, they need to be strong in terms of both performance and reliability.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo and Magnussen, Grosjean, Hülkenberg, Perez and Fernando Alonso. Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Sainz, Stoffel Van Dorn and Hartley, Gasly, the captain, Marcus Ericsson and Charles Leclerc. Stroll and Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Excellent job yesterday. We qualified above expectations. Let's go out there and put in a performance.
I agree, Jeff, and the only way we're really going to be able to put in any kind of performance here is by going with the one-stop strategy. It's the only way I see us potentially moving forwards if we can, but yeah, let's just get into this. Not much strategy when we have one stop. We have 5 lights in Australia, and the 2018 season is underway. Hot lap mode, rich mix. It's been a dreadful start as Gasly, both Leclerc and Ericsson charge ahead of me, but into turn 1 we're going to keep it on the inside, keep it nice and clean, try not to just overdo it. We've got back past both the Saubers. Now we're side by side by Gasly, charging down towards turn 3. Got Hartley up ahead of us, the pack taking it nice and easy. We've come up right next to one of the Papaya McLarens, and Van Dorn just chopped across us there. The AI, I will say, take no prisoners when it comes to dive bombs. They're not just going to move out your way like they did on the older games, but nonetheless we've got ourselves up into 13th place. We've got ourselves ahead of Carlos Sainz and behind both McLarens. Lewis Hamilton though still down in 10th place after that grid penalty, which was a big surprise, as if you were paying attention in the qualifying you would have noticed he would have got pole position. Sebastian Vettel is streaking away as Hamilton locks up into turn 9. We dive it down the inside of Van Dorn, who was caught napping a little bit there, and we're going to be using the ERS just in high mode. We're not going to burn too much fuel as of yet. I'm going to save that for later on in the Grand Prix, just during the opening laps. I just want to see if I can keep up with the midfield. I have made a mistake though with the dirty air coming off the back of that McLaren. The Williams just not very good on the tarmac, and Hülkenberg holding Hamilton up. He's pushed him wide and he's going to keep him to the outside. Hülkenberg not going to allow the Mercedes driver through. He's had to slot back into 10th place. I'm going to try and dive it down the inside of Alonso here into the penultimate corner, and Alonso just turned in, was like, no way am I getting out of your way. So that's what I'm referring to there when I'm saying the AI is just not prepared to just move out your way. If you'd done that on F1 2017, they would have dived out of the way and gone, there you are, sir, thank you very much. But this game, not so much. Anyway, on to lap 2 now. Hülkenberg still in 9th, Hamilton 10th, Alonso 11th, we are 12th. We split the McLarens with Van Dorn in 13th, and Stroll is all the way back in last place. So we are currently outperforming our teammate, which is exactly what we want to do. We're going to be compared to the guy in the same piece of machinery as us, so we bump it up to rich mix and put high ERS deployment. I find that we can be good at this chicane if we just stop making mistakes and running on the grass. Hamilton though is going to have a run at Hülkenberg. Van Dorn though is having a look at me into the late right-hander of turn 13. Can Van Dorn make the move stick? He has done, actually. He's pulled ahead of us and regained 12th place, and now we are going to have to try and make a move on Stoffel Van Dorn into the penultimate corner, and we're going to try and take Alonso again. I'm trying to muscle my way past him, and Alonso just shoves me off the track going, no, son. Just because you finally got up alongside me doesn't mean I'm then going to let go. So brilliant driving. We're going to bump it up to overtake mode, and you can see there, just with the extra ERS deployment there, we've pulled ahead of Van Dorn, who then made a big lunge into turn 1. Caught me off guard a little bit because I didn't see the arrow right until the last minute. So I've had to leave the room for him. But then once that settled down, Sainz got past Van Dorn. Hülkenberg as well. I think he's got some kind of problem because he's really holding Alonso up here. I kept forgetting about the DRS on this back stretch. But by lap 3, Alonso in his Renault-powered McLaren getting past the factory Renault there of Hülkenberg, and yeah, he's looking very slow at this point. Even though he's on the ultra-soft tyre, he's got to have some kind of problem. So we're just going to follow him through the right-hander, and now we're going to try and make a successful move into the penultimate corner. We were able to pull alongside enough this time here. Don't know if it's just Alonso's super aggressive AI there, but we've managed to get through, and we're actually up into P11. We're already on the cusp of the points as we look back there, because I was only running standard and standard on the main straight just to sort of see what that was like there running against AI. Our first lap in clean air, I immediately went over 2.5 seconds faster, so Hülkenberg definitely dropping through the field with some kind of issue. We move on to lap 5 here, and we're coming under pressure from Carlos Sainz. He must be running some high battery and some rich mix, because that Renault's looking very quick in a straight line. I know I bumped on some extra downforce here, but Sainz now We're going to try and make a move. It was half-hearted, and then the Williams got all out of shape. I had to turn into the slide. That then got caught, and I made contact with Sainz there. Here it is on a replay. Sainz was just way ahead of us. I made a half-hearted dive. I didn't want to plough into the side of him. Instead, I made contact with his wheel. And then, yeah, you saw the correction on the steering. Sainz then goes wide, tries to bring it back on the circuit, and then sort of just very slow on the curb. Coming through lap 6, Gasly's out of the race, and Sainz is out of the race. So Gasly was coming around that corner while Sainz was coming on circuit, so I'm willing to bet there was a small collision. So I don't think my reputation with Renault is going to be very good coming out of my debut Grand Prix, my rookie race. But speaking of my rookie race, points no longer looking possible at the moment there, because Alonso is driving away. So I was just saving up ERS, because there is a gaggle of cars there. So if they started slowing down, I'd bump it up to Rich and some high ERS to try and chase them down. Jeff, though, is telling me, no, you should do that now. And I'm going to give it a go. And a lap later, it was working. Look how much closer we are to this pack just ahead of us. I was pushing quite hard, though. And like I say, this Williams just wasn't the best to try and slow down. You know, I had to be very cautious into some of the braking zones. We've actually got up into P10 due to some of the pit stops. The guys obviously on the ultra softs pitting and going on to either supers or soft tyres depending on their strategy. Perez is doing the same thing at the end of lap 8 along with one of the Mercedes cars of Valtteri Bottas. That's going to put something to P8. And I'm just appreciating as I'm doing the commentary back here, because I noticed it while I was playing, but I'm noticing it more now. The engines sound amazing. The sounds are really bumped up in this year's game. Anyway, lap 10, we're coming in a couple of laps, so I'm back to saving fuel and ERS, but Daniel Ricciardo comes out right in front of me. And you know what? I fancy having a bit of fun here. Daniel Ricciardo, home Grand Prix. Let's see what we can do. He's on soft tyres. He's going to the end of the Grand Prix. I'm just going to stick it down the inside. Be the young upstart rookie. You know, you don't want to be that guy that just sits there, doesn't wow anyone. You're going to want to see it in the tabloids. Be like, oh, rookie forces Daniel Ricciardo out of the way. Similar to, you know, I'm not going to compare myself to Montoya, but when he did it to Schumacher in Brazil. So did that, got in front of him. Anyway, we're coming in a couple of laps, so I turn the engine down, turn the ERS down, let Daniel Ricciardo pass me, try not to lose too much time, because we are battling Van Dorn this Grand Prix, essentially, because Alonso has been a bit too quick. He's pulled ahead of me. I've made a mistake once again coming out of that chicane, and Van Dorn pulls ahead of me quite nicely there. We're going to just stick in this slipstream, and I'm going to make a big banzai move, try and be a bit more committed to that move, and Van Dorn went to turn in, but he wasn't as aggressive as Sainz or Alonso, so I was able to just about make it stick. But yeah, just got everything turned down, just taking care of the car at the moment, because we're going to try and use that on our outlap and see if we can make an undercut work. So Van Dorn now, you can see I've even gone down to no ERS deployment here, dived it down the inside of turn 3. We've held it around the outside and plunged it down the inside of turn 4, pushed Van Dorn out wide, and the AI, yeah, they're not prepared to try and make some moves on you. Anyway, this is the end of lap 12. We're making our pit stop at the end of this lap, so we're of course going to have to engage the pit limiter. Good old manual pit entry, manual pit exit. Very cautious on my approach to the pit, but I didn't want to get any penalties, so we're in lean, we're in no ERS, we've got 84% battery, and the Williams boys are very good in the pits. 2.3 seconds. That's going to be another strength. The Williams boys are known as probably the best, or one of the best, if not the best pit crew on the grid. So high ERS, rich fuel mixture. We're coming out in 14th. I don't know if anyone noticed as well. I know I was talking over it, but the sounds are also very improved for the pit lane as well. So Van Dorn went on for another lap there. So he's on very worn supers. We are on fresh soft tyres. I've had to push out of the pits here. Let's see if we can stay ahead of Van Dorn. We come across the line. There is Van Dorn exiting the pits. It's going to be very close into turn 1, but we're going to swoop across the front of his nose. And that is us just keeping ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn and 11th place. And we've made our only pit stop. We're halfway through the Grand Prix, and there's 4 cars just ahead of me up the road. Now, granted, 2 of those cars are Mercedes, so I'm not going to be catching those. Alonso is just up the road as well. But interestingly enough, Perez is just up the road in the Force India, a car that's not going to be too much faster than myself, hopefully. We do have personal best of a 27.1 in our first lap on rich and high. Anyway, after that point, I put the battery down to low as it was below 20%, so we're going to save battery at this point. And now, on 16, Grosjean pits. He's on a 2-stop. That has put us, who's making no more pit stops in this race, into the points. It was this moment where I was like, can I do this? Can I actually get points in this race? Because we ran well in the first stint, but I thought after the pit stop we'd lose a bunch of time. Anyway, we're going to ask about Perez now.
Okay, gap ahead is 2.4 seconds. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 8 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:28.
So Perez isn't exactly running very quickly. He's nearly in the 29s, and he pitted from ultras to soft. So Perez has got to run very long on his tyres, and I think he's worn them out a little bit. And that Force India also isn't the best car around corners. I'm not saying the Williams is great, but let's catch him. With that mentality though, Jeff just going to be like, you know, just keep it calm. Your tyres have got to make it to the end of the race. So a lot more radio messages you get this year, which I'm a big fan of, just expanding what they've put into the game. But now we are up behind Sergio Perez. We could turn this 10th place to 9th place. So we've just got it on standard, we've got it on medium, nothing too insane, but that was enough to catch Perez, and we've built a 2-second gap back to Stoffel Van Dorn. So we're looking kind of comfortable at the moment here, so let's just line Perez up for a move. We don't need to go too silly, because we've seen here, so far in this Grand Prix, the AI are prepared to just chop across my nose, and I don't want to lose my front wing when I'm in such a good position for my opening race. So let's just sit behind Perez, see where he's weak, see where he's strong, bump it down to lean mix just for a hot second there, save a bit more fuel. We're going to get DRS coming out of the left-right chicane, which like I said earlier, I just kept forgetting about it. I wasn't on it straight away, but this could be our best opportunity. We're very good into this corner, so we just measure it there. Perez very weak under braking, but these next couple of corners are where Perez was very slow. I don't know if he maybe has a small bit of front wing damage, but yeah, just very slow through the second to last and then the penultimate corner. Through the final corner, we're just going to keep it as tucked up behind as we can. DRS, up into overtake mode, rich mix, bit of slipstream, and just look at the pulling power. Just once you've got everything turned up to max, the straight line speed was insane. So dive it down the inside of Sergio Perez there, and we had to get out of the throttle, so I did go a little bit wide, unfortunately, and then while on my controller, because I do race on a pad, dropped it down to 5th gear. That cost me a bit of straight line speed. Perez nearly had a go into turn 3. Thankfully, he wasn't quite able to make the move. Once got past Perez, I think he must have been maybe harvesting some energy, because you can see here, he's sticking with me by lap 22. There's now only 8 laps left of the Grand Prix, so more and more as the laps went on, the points became a reality. But when we're making mistakes through the first corner and Perez comes at me like a bullet out of turn 2, look at him there, everything turned up to max, but he's gone the outside and he's locked his front tyre, so he's not going to be able to make the move that time around. We're just going to put everything into standard, try and keep it controlled, try and keep everything calm. Perez again going to try the outside of the left-right chicane. I made sure to always cover off the inside line, try and not let him through, try and concentrate on where Perez is. You can see Alonso just up the road there. He's, you know, well out of my reach, but he's battling the Mercedes. Alonso must have had 4 Weetabix with a load of sugar on them for breakfast this morning, because the guy is absolutely on fire. Anyway, we move on to lap 24. At this point, I just wanted to keep an eye on the tyres, because the car was starting to lose a little bit of grip. I'm harvesting some ERS, and Perez, while I wasn't paying attention, just stuck it straight up the inside. Of course, then he couldn't actually keep it flat through the corner because of his compromised entry. But then once again, I'm flicking through the options. I haven't got myself to ERS at the moment, and Perez just sends it straight past me. He tried to come across into that right-hander, but I dove it down the inside, and this is where I'm like, no, I need to pay attention here. So we're a couple of laps from the end of the Grand Prix. We are in 9th. Perez is 10th. Van Dorn 11th. There's a Haas of Grosjean in 12th and a Toro Rosso of Hartley in 13th. So we come across to lap 27, 3 laps left of the Australian Grand Prix. And now's where we need to think about how we've used our battery there. So we go cautious through turn 1. Didn't want to make any kind of mistake here. As we now charge down towards turn 3. Perez, though, got to run. Like I say, rich mix. Overtake mode flowing on that Force India. I couldn't turn in. He tactically parked his car, so I couldn't turn in. And Perez there has mugged me off for 9th place. But now we've got to try and stick with him if we can. Through the right-hander, I clipped the curb a little bit. That made the car slide. Wasn't able to get the power down for a potential move into 6th. And like I say, Van Dorn's right behind me, so I need to be looking at the car ahead of me as well as the car behind me, and just look how much we've closed up on Sergio Perez. Now I've had it on standard and low, so I want to have another go at him here as we come down the main straight. We've put it up to rich mix. I've still left the ERS in low, because I'm trying to save a little bit maybe for the final lap of the race. And there's a yellow flag annoyingly into turn 1 because of Marcus Ericsson Salisbury's out of the race, so I can't actually make the move on Perez. Once we get past the zone though, rich mix, DRS open, still on low ERS there, but Perez must be harvesting as well, because he's down the on the outside there, hasn't done anything with it, locks up his right front tyre, tries to keep the move around the outside. I've gone wide through turn 4, but Perez not able to go past us here. We're a lap and a half from home, and we're still battling for 9th place. So We're going to try and keep the fuel under control, so we're down to standard and medium once again near the end of the lap, and Perez just sticks it down the inside of the left-right chicane once again. I've gone on the curb and I've compromised my exit, so I've been very slow out that corner, gone across wide to maybe defend. Perez ducks underneath me, and then Romain Grosjean comes out of nowhere, diving it down the inside. He has a half-hearted move on Perez, that slows him down, compromises his exit. We're going to go down the inside of Grosjean on the next right-hander. That puts him away at salts. I'm now on the gravel, got gravel on my tyres, I've got no grip into the penultimate corner. Grosjean now comes through again. Now I've got grass on my other set of tyres, and I just couldn't turn into the final corner. Then Grosjean's on my outside. I might have put him in the wall, I'd like to say. Didn't really want to go for that, but yeah, at this point my tyres just felt completely dead because of the grass, because of the gravel, and because of the wear. I've made a complete mess of turn 1, and now I've got Charles Leclerc all over me for 10th place. Perez is now gone. 9th place is no longer within reach, but Raikkonen wins the Grand Prix, and now I'm thinking, no, we'll settle down. We had a bit of a mare at the end of the last lap, but we're going to come across the line. Rich mix, overtake, points on our Formula 1 debut.
Nice work, you did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
So Kimi Raikkonen wins the Grand Prix, a pole to flag victory from Sebastian Vettel, who led home Max Verstappen for the podium. Ricciardo in 4th, Magnussen bringing it home in 5th for Haas, ahead of both Mercedes, who also only did a 1-stop. So Bottas had an awful race, Hamilton had to fight through, Alonso was right there with him. Then came Perez, myself in 10th, Leclerc, Ocon, Grosjean, Hulkenberg and Hartley. Obviously the Drivers' Championship, the same as the race results, so nothing to worry about there. We are P10 though. The Constructors-wise, Ferrari have pulled ahead immediately with 43 points, then Red Bull, Mercedes, Haas up there in 4th, McLaren, Force India, and ourselves in 7th with Toro Rosso, Renault and Sauber failing to score. So, big result in our first Grand Prix. Let's see how that's going to translate as we run into Claire while we're on the way back to the motorhome.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
Now, I'm too early in my Grand Prix to give a cocky answer of either secret, I'm the best, or that would be telling. So I just went with, the normal response. Great car, great team, very sportsman.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
And I have to be honest here, like I've said the strength of the Williams is the power advantage. Once again, I said that was our secret there.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
No, it wasn't. But again, I'm, kind of new, don't want to attract any bad attention, so I thought about it, but then I was like, no, I'm not sure. We'll have to review everything there. So that's going to decrease my RF a little bit.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
And I said this throughout the video a couple of times, so I had to be honest, I just don't feel as if the car had enough downforce.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So there we go. There's the interview with Claire. So we saw a bit of a rep decrease with Williams, and then obviously certain departments, that's the word I'm looking for, noticed how we answered, and that's obviously going to affect our relationship with them. So here's our points coming out of the race. You get a lot more resource points for the races now, thankfully. Here's our current standing with a lot of the teams. Renault, it went up with loads, even though I think people are going to assume I put Sainz out the race. Anyway, there's our rookie bar. Of course, we're right at the start. We're leaning towards showman, even though Williams prefer we're leaning towards sportsman, even though Williams prefer a showman. But is what it is. We get our complimentary comments from Mr. Gif, our race engineer, and that is it for episode 1. Hope you've enjoyed it. I enjoyed racing it. The sounds in this game, for me, the first thing I've noticed is the AI and the sounds. They're much more improved, and I'm going to try and make sure that comes across in the video. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and remember to subscribe and enable the notifications. I am going to try and upload Season 1 daily. So, a new video every day for the first 21 races. That's the goal. We'll see if it happens. You're going to have to subscribe to find out. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.